What happens when boxing royalty secures a vintage victory but doesn't even crack a smile about it? What happens when greatness steps into the ring not to battle, but to lock eyes with his next target? This wasn't merely a title defense, and it wasn't really about William Skull. This was the opening chapter for the biggest showdown boxing has seen in a decade. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. And after what had just happened live on Daz and Canelo, glanced around and declared without a pause, "I'm killing you next." Let's break down what went down at the Riot, how Crawford stole the spotlight, and why this fight might have flipped the boxing world on its head. Let's keep it a buck. Canelo Alvarez is back as the undisputed super middleweight king, but this fight had everyone from Saudi princes to Twitter trolls falling asleep. William Skull is unbeaten, tall, and technically sound, but exciting. Not at all. Canelo said it best. It was boring, and he was just trying to survive. I can't stand fights like that. How
are you feeling after your great performance tonight?
Oh, I feel great. I win, you know. I come to put a great show, but to put a great show you need both fighters. So, but at the end of the day, win is a win.
Are you frustrated with William Skull?
Yeah, a little bit, but
what did you say to him at the end of the fight?
I say to him, you just come to, you can not win a fight like that, fighting like that. And he say, I'm sorry, it's my first time and I just tried to put a good fight and I'm so sorry. That's right.
How are you feeling after your great performance tonight?
Oh, I feel great. I win, I come to put a great show, but to put a great show you need both fighters. So, but at the end of the day, win is a win.
Are you frustrated with William Skull?
Yeah, a little bit, but
what did you say to him at the end of the fight?
I say to him, you just come to, you can not win a fight like that, fighting like that. And he say, I'm sorry, it's my first time and I just tried to put a good fight and I'm so sorry. That's right.
Skull came in with reach, footwork, and plenty of runaround energy, but Canelo didn't bother chasing. Instead, he stalked methodically, landing 40 brutal body shots to Skull's weak sides. The judges scored it 115, 113, 116, 112, and 119, 109. Canelo clearly won, he owned the ring, but what happened after the fight sent the internet into a frenzy in real time.
Neutralizing Canelo power punches, he was just moving a lot.
Do you think that's like a style you have to employ in points of the fight?
I don't know, because if you watch the styles that beat him, they didn't move a lot. They moved a little bit, but not as much as William Skull.
There's a rumour going around this week that Manny Pacquiao is going to return. What do you make of that?
I don't know. We shall see. I don't know.
Do you think he's too old at 46 to fight Barrios?
I can't say if he's too old or not. If he get in there and win, then everybody will be saying different. So I don't put no limit on an all-time great like Manny Pacquiao.
Where does a win against Canelo Alvarez put you in the list of all-time greats?
Top, baby. Come on now. What's the key to victory? Be myself. Be myself. That's it. Excuse me.
Just as Canelo was catching his breath, the ring was cleared. Turki Al-Sheikh, Saudi Arabia's entertainment chief, walked in like it was WWE and announced, now we want the face-off for the fight of the century. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Bud Crawford, the man who crushed Errol Spence Jr. The two-division undisputed king, who Canelo once said was too small to fight him, now stood staring him down like he'd already won. Canelo's smile disappeared. No belts, no talking, just tense cameras flashing and the crowd losing its mind. Crawford stepped forward and dropped a bombshell. In September, I'll show the world what greatness looks like. No trash talk, just heat. Canelo answered with a grin and a whisper, "I'll kill you next." This isn't just boxing anymore. It's ego versus legacy, respect versus dominance. For years, it's been power versus skill. Terence Crawford has been pounding on Canelo's door, calling him out, dropping hints in interviews, and telling the boxing world he wants this smoke.
But Canelo was having none of it. He simply brushed Crawford away. And why wouldn't he in Canelo's eyes? Crawford was too little.
I don't think it's a fight Canelo really wants, if I'm honest, because I think he feels like he won't get a lot of credit beating a light middleweight. And Crawford's going to move a lot in that fight, which is not ideal for Canelo. But what's his options? I mean, like, you know, if Bivol wins, he could fight him for undisputed. That's a very tough fight. What's the other options? You know, Benavidez is up at 175. Obviously, His Excellency wants to make that fight, so I guess we could see it next.
But Canelo wasn't having any of it. He simply brushed Crawford aside. And why wouldn't he? In Canelo's eyes, Crawford was just too small.
Crawford, his name keeps coming up, and I know he's a lot smaller than you. Is that a fight that you would ever consider under any circumstance?
You know, I always say if the fight make sense, why not? But he's not in the plan.
He's not in the plan. Okay. Is there a specific reason for it? Is it because of his size, or it won't do anything for you in terms of pushing you toward your goals?
You know, like I say, it makes sense maybe. I don't know right now. I just gonna enjoy this fight. Please let me enjoy this fight. And then you're gonna know what is next.
We're talking about a man who began in the lightweight division and is now chasing a monster who's held titles all the way up to light heavyweight.
Man, Charlo gave him too much respect, man. He didn't fight his fight.
What would you do to Canelo?
I don't know if he was scared or not, but, you know, Canelo did a tremendous job in there. He did what he had to do. Oh, that was you out here? I got Carl. You got it?
And from the outside, it seemed like Canelo didn't take Bud seriously, even after Crawford demolished Errol Spence and shook up the welterweight division. Canelo wasn't moved. He wanted to see Crawford take on some of the bigger sharks before he'd agree to fight.
Crawford 10, you want to move up to 68 and fight the winner of Canelo Crawford at 68.
I commend them for it. It takes a lot of balls to do it. A lot of courage, but it also takes, more importantly, it takes believing in yourself. So I commend Crawford for it.
But now the story has changed. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez is locked in for September during a Riyadh season, and the fight will happen in Las Vegas.
He wants to fight, he's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better, no? Terence Crawford is a great fighter, he's a good fighter, but you know, like I say, he's a weight classes for a reason. I'm focused 100% on Berlanga, and you never know what happened.
Yeah. The size gap that once kept this super fight in dreamland is now the very reason everyone's tuned in. Because let's face it, this is about more than just belts. It's about history, weight jumps, and doing what no one else has dared. Crawford is actually jumping 2 weight classes, from junior middleweight at 154 to Canelo's throne at 168. That's not just a step up, it's a leap of faith into one of boxing's most dangerous divisions.
Or when he fought Floyd, rather.
He's big, like muscular wise, but as far as like height,
right?
Nah. So yeah, that wouldn't be nothing that, you know, we had to see.
That would be insane. For you to go from 140 all the way up to 168.
That'd be dope.
Woo!
I think it can happen. I think that's, to be honest, I think that's the biggest fight in boxing. He beat Charlo, Terence Crawford, Canelo. That's the biggest fight in boxing, hands down. No other fighters could compare to that. You know, no disrespect to Charlo, but he's not a superstar. He's not, you know, on Canelo's level. Now he got a chance. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's going to do well in that fight, and he got the tools to win. You know, it's just
UFC great Joe Rogan recently weighed in on this, and let's just say he's concerned. During an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan put it plainly, "I just hope he's large enough. I hope he's big enough to keep that guy away from him, because Canelo is such a powerful fighter. This isn't just a casual fan doubting Crawford. Rogan has interviewed him, respects him, but also knows this will be a battle of physics as much as skill."
First of all, I give Crawford all the credit in the world for even thinking about possibly fighting Canelo. But if that fight ever takes place, I have Crawford 1,000%. And people are gonna say, "Oh, well, you're contradicting yourself." I kind of am, but Crawford is also a big guy. Crawford is a big guy who can handle a Canelo because they're the same size. Crawford is a guy who punches hard, but he doesn't rely on his power. He relies on his footwork. He relies on his speed, on his change-ups. He relies on his combinations. He relies on his mind. And I believe that Crawford is a way better boxer than Canelo.
But here's what makes Bud so dangerous. He knows exactly what he's walking into. He's been chasing this very challenge and risk. He's not just aiming for greatness, he's trying to redefine it. There was no tune-up, no warm-up fight, just time to bulk up, lock in, and get his body ready for the biggest moment of his career. That means by September, he'll have been out of the ring for over a year. But that's how serious this man is about taking down Canelo to our interview.
Canelo, I think that's weird, you know, because you got to gain like, what, 20 pounds? Yeah. But they say that's the money fight. That's the mega fight. That's the money fight. That's the only thing that makes sense for Terence Crawford.
Well, you know what I mean? Catch weight. You can do something out of catch weight.
What weight you think?
Probably like 160.
So you said 154 is the highest you want to go.
Yeah, 158.
He doesn't want to water down the moment. He wants to lock in completely on one thing, shocking the world.
Thinks you're not a 54 pounder. In other words, you say, nah, he's too small.
That's his take. There's a reason why Israel was so respectful in the fight. Anytime I let my hands go, he either grab me or move. For the bigger guy, you should have been walking me down. You should have been bullying me. Canelo can say what he say.
He just doesn't feel like you're a 54 pounder. He believes that you're a real weight class.
My real weight class is 168.
It's not Canelo trolling.
I just want to know if I'm too small for 168. A lot of people my whole life been doubting me. I know I'm smaller than Canelo. I know I'm smaller than these guys.
Yeah, but Canelo's pretty short too. Canelo's your height.
We're the same height. We're the same height.
Exactly, for a 68 pounder. But he is a freaking boulder. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a thick kid.
We know that.
So if you're still sleeping on this fight, wake up. Terence Crawford, a generational mastermind, is stepping up to face Canelo Alvarez, a heavy-handed monster. It's brains versus brawn, speed versus power, and history versus destiny. September is about to get wild. Meet you at interview 14, and let's give credit to DAZN and the Saudis for this moment. They didn't just promote a fight, they turned it into a movie. Canelo showed up around 6:20 a.m. local Saudi time to make sure the bout aired during prime time on the West Coast. The skull fight was mostly a formality. The real drama was seeing Terence Crawford at ringside, arms crossed, gaze locked in.
I mean, it's one thing. I mean, I wouldn't think that Canelo watched Crawford on Saturday and was afraid of fighting him at 68. I think for Canelo, it's more about the credibility he gets through victory. I think he's a little bit concerned, having spoken to him in the past, that if he beats a guy that's coming up from 147 to 168, is he really going to get the respect for that? So we'll see. I mean, money talks. You know, if it's the right deal, he'll always take the fight.
Even before the bout, Crawford told Claudia Trejos of DAZN, Canelo's the guy we're looking at. He scouted the entire fight. No cheering, no tweeting, just calculating. That stare down in the ring wasn't for the cameras. It was a deal made without a pen. So the million-dollar question is, who holds the advantage in this fight? On paper, Canelo seems to have the edge. He's the naturally bigger boxer, has competed at 168 lbs for years, and has taken on giants like Dmitry Bivol and Sergey Kovalev.
I got Crawford ready for when you question on board.
what I think of that fight?
Yeah.
I think that, everybody knows that Crawford got the skills. I do think that Canelo's a little big for Crawford. It'll be a tall task for him to win. It'll be a lot you have to. It'll be a lot to get that victory based on size alone. Not that size wins fights, but you got a guy that got size and skill. It'll be hard. I mean, nothing's impossible. But if I had my money on somebody winning the fight, it'll be Canelo Alvarez. Terence Crawford is a great fighter. They're both great fighters. You got two great fighters in there. I think one guy got the advantage. His makeup, his body, type, how big of a person he is. I think that will.
Not to mention, he's got the experience, strength, and chin to back it up. But just because Crawford is adding weight doesn't mean he's the underdog. In fact, if anything, Bud rises when others doubt him. Every time they've said someone was too powerful, too skilled, or too experienced, he's shut them down one by one. Crawford's boxing IQ is unmatched, his timing flawless, and his switch hitting skills leave even the best opponents guessing. If this fight turns into a tactical chess match, don't be surprised if Bud is the one setting the pace.
Boom, 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 bang.
But if it turns into a war of attrition, that's Canelo's world. The real deciding factor here is whether Bud can keep his speed, stamina, and power at 168 without losing what makes him special. Because if he can, this might not be the mismatch some expect. It could be the moment Crawford snatches the crown. Let's talk about that now iconic line. I'm killing you next. Canelo didn't say it to hype up the crowd. He leaned in, eyes locked, and said it like he already knew the outcome. It wasn't anger, it was a promise. And that's the scariest kind of fighter, the one who looks at greatness and whispers a death sentence. But Bud smiled and didn't blink, replying, "We'll see." That's what makes this war so dangerous. The date is locked, September 12th, 2025, Allegiant. Stadium Las Vegas, more than 65,000 fans expected. DAZN pay-per-view going global with Saudi money backing it. America's watching because this is more than a boxing match. It's two future Hall of Famers clashing to settle who's the greatest of all time.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. Big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat him.
End of the day, this is more than just a fight. It's history in the making. Two generations of skill, two undeniable kings from different worlds, finally meeting in the center of the ring for a once-in-a-lifetime clash. Whether you're backing Crawford or Canelo, this battle is sure to reshape the boxing world now. It's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who walks away with the crown this September? Is Crawford biting off more than he can chew, or is he ready to shock the world by toppling boxing's biggest star? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more fight breakdowns and updates, and turn on those notifications. I'll see you in the next one.